Welcome to Come to Mama, where we nurture souls. I wanted to talk about motherhood or mothers that are dealing with children that have some behavioral issues, and not necessarily just behavioral issues, but struggling with mental illness, children with mental illness. And I just wanted to, I guess this has been heavy on my heart because I know people that have children that have mental conditions where a parent, even in their adulthood, has to, well, of course, out of love, but take care of their adult children, and also parents that are, taking care of their smaller children and know it's going to be a lifelong process. This is an act of love, and that, is unexplainable. I mean, you must be strong to be able to deal with these situations. And, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was mental illness. As I am gaining more knowledge in my life, and I am a mother, I have 8 children, and each of my children are different. Luckily, uh, so far, we've been able to get through each and every one of their lives, and being a mother's never over. But we've been able to get through or going through, you know, our process of moving out of being mother that does everything for her child to being someone who may, assist or um, I'm trying to think of the word. What's the word I'm looking for? Um, we are no longer, their provider. We become more of an advisor. That's what we become as they get older. Um, Even our grown children, though, sometimes they regress back and they need their moms. And I guess this is dedicated to a friend of mine who has a son who is about in his mid 20s, and he's suffering from mental illness. Um, he didn't really start having mental illness issues until maybe the last 4 years or so, to where he's actually diagnosed. And I talked to my friend, um, and I tried to talk to her about seeking, you know, outside of the mental health realm, some metaphysical or, occult like, or shamanistic, not even occult, shamanistic help, healers from nature, astrologers, Reiki healers, more intuitive people, in her community that might be able to assist her, because he had some major traumas go on in his life for, right before he uh, became mentally ill. And I believe, matter of fact, I know, is that he doesn't know how to deal with those traumas. Therefore, it's ate away at him to where he has, these mental health issues that they're using drugs to mask. And the reason why I feel bad about it is because I know that my friend, who, but and all of us as parents, want our children to thrive. We want our children to experience and get out into the world and have their own families and experiences, and when, you know, the psychological stress of having a dependent child, whether they're small or an adult, it's really hard. It's really, really hard. And I can see how it takes a toll on a person's life. Um, but what we must understand as parents is even though our children are having problems, if it's not a physical problem where the person's not is not wheelchair bound and they can't do for themselves, I would suggest that parents consider, getting some readings done on their children, like a birth chart reading. Um, and also, with that, other types of astrological readings, because it's a blueprint and a map, and it can actually, show you the energies that, or the alignments, and aspects that have affected this person early on in their lives, or even on coming things that are coming forward. And so you still have your free will to do whatever it is you want, but with a blueprint showing you some things, it may, make a big difference on how the treatment of the person who has a mental illness goes. So, you know, um, for parents though that have more of the normal issues like behavior, like teenagers going through puberty, and um, just the normal struggles of parenthood, of working and trying to meet everybody's needs. Parents of multiple children, just stay strong and do what you can, because at the end of the day, you will be rewarded for, you know, following through with your children. I understand more than anybody having 8 children, and I'm on my last four. My 19-year-old, she's going to be 20 in August. She lives with me, but you're still really young at 19 and you don't have a lot of experience. So I'm still assisting her. And even my 20-year-old daughter, she calls me for advice, and I'm more of an advisor now. Um, Now I have a 17-year-old son who's entering into college next year. He's in his last year of high school. Then I have a 15-year-old who's a sophomore, and then I have a 10-year-old who's fourth grade. And it gets challenging, with the pandemic and the learning at home. That threw a lot of people off. It definitely threw my family off. And even though I was working from home, I had 3 children, that were 4 children actually, because my daughter was still in high school, that I was trying to keep hold of and control of, and also work full time. It was exhausting, even though we didn't leave the house. So my children, some of them did not thrive. Some of them did. Some of them enjoyed uh, the online learning and never wanted to return back to regular school. And then there were others that they suffered hard. I mean, my youngest, I literally would have him in the same room with me, and I would be working and trying to handle my work stuff and being on the phones and handling that while I'm trying to make sure he's logged on and turn over and he's asleep, and I'd have to be like, get up, get up, get up. And it was very tough. And so I can imagine what everybody's going through with getting back into school, getting your children back on track to in-person learning with all these restrictions and things that are going on, and the uncertainties about vaccinations, and um, just everything that's going on. It's stay strong, because it's tough. And, I'm speaking from experience myself. But, out of the labor of love, we had these children, and, we should do everything that we can to support any efforts to help them be or do whatever they came here to do. And so another reason why we should be pulling a birth chart is because it would tell us a lot. There's ways of finding out in the birth chart what people, what a path, what someone's path would be, what their soul's journey would be most beneficial in this life. And so, it's definitely an investment worth, you know, uh, putting in, for them. I am learning how to do the birth charts now, and I'm taking classes. So eventually, I plan on, doing something simple. I'm not doing, I know that these things, from what I see, can really become overwhelming. So, I plan on doing these things for the greater good to help people get on their paths, or parents to help their children stay on path, and, help guide the parents to, you know, give them what's necessary, or, positive reinforcement to keep their children moving the way in the direction they're supposed to be, even though it's hard. And then for those who have the mental health issues, a lot of times, some of these children that have mental health issues are very, very, very in tune. They're empathic, and maybe their background is something to do with occult or metaphysics. Maybe they're geniuses. Maybe they're channels. You know, maybe they're in, experiencing this dimension and other dimensions. And I believe that, and I've told my friend that you really need to find out, because what we think or you're thinking is mental illness might really be something beneficial for the planet, for people, and that might be one of his callings. And so there's a reason why he is hearing voices. There's ways to control the voices that you hear. Maybe he should be paying attention to what those voices are telling him, and maybe it's ancestors. Maybe he's, hearing from the dead, and the people are trying to come through to give a message to family members. I don't know, but just think about, if your child is, gifted in that way, not only are you helping people, but monetarily, you can make a lot of money and never have to work again, so, or you will never have to work doing anything else but that. And so then that person or that child can gain teachings from a shaman, or someone in metaphysics, or, who can help them understand, educate these children, and help them thrive in what their purpose is. You see, because we do have, indigo children, and we do have, star seeds and such. And more it's becoming more prevalent, and because it's necessary on this planet. And some of us can be so in tune in the mundane world that whatever the child has going on, we look at it as a problem, instead of, trying to really get to the bottom of what's going on, trying to really help them thrive. And then it may turn for the good, where your child learns to deal with their gifts or situations, to where you don't feel confined the rest of your life, uh, with the possibility of having to never be able to, live your life without caring for another. And I'm just being real, because even though we love our kids and we do it, it's still hard, when you're not able to just pick up and go somewhere, because you got to worry about someone else. And we're thinking, when we give birth to our children, that once they reach a certain age, over the age of 18, even if they do live with us, even if we're still a close knit family, that we still are able to get up and go when we need to go. If I need to run to the store, if I want to go visit my mom in, Hawaii, I could just jump up and get on and go where I need to go, and that child can take care of themselves. But, when you have someone who has mental illness, or, a child that has a physical illness, or something that's, debilitating for not only them but you, it takes emotional toll. And I'm sure that there are, groups out there to help, and organizations to help. It doesn't mean that it's, I would just say that there is support groups, and it probably really does help. But I just want to address, that, you're beautiful for, loving your child through all things that, are helping them grow. And, you know, I think you'll be rewarded because you made the choice to help someone and not be selfish. And, you did the honorable act of loving your baby no matter what, or your child no matter what. So I just wanted to put this out there because I know it's not easy. And you know there definitely look into some type of support if you can, to help you cope with whatever you're going through. And also, again, if your children are having, suffering from mental illness, definitely look outside the psychological realm. Not realm, but the psychological. Well, I definitely have them, checked out by a mental or psychological doctor. I'm not saying, because I'm not a doctor. I'm saying, have your child evaluated, but I would also highly suggest that you also go on your spirit on a spiritual aspect of whatever your belief system is, of receiving some type of help and guidance from someone outside of just the Western medicine, or technique, um, because the medication alone can just dumb somebody down. And like for my friend and her son, when I see him now, he's almost like a zombie. It's like watching that movie Get Out, how when they put your consciousness, they move your consciousness to the back seat, so basically something else takes over you. And usually it's where they're drugging you so much or slowing your thoughts down to where you don't have no control and you're walking around like a zombie. And it's sad because you might be thriving. And, if people if you knew, or they knew, that there was a spiritual aspect behind their condition, and help them again educate on it and learn how to deal with these situations. At this point, I'm repeating myself, but I just wanted to bring that out there. Thank you to all of the parents that, are taking care of your children and thugging it out no matter what. We love our babies, and we will continue to. And, we do need to build strong communities for those of us who are struggling, and help each other with our children, and help relieve people who, need relief from time to time, so that they can't just get up and go. It's important at times for your own mental health as a parent. So with that being said, have a good morning, because it's 1 a.m., and I will be back soon.